Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, like, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here, and welcome to the next episode of a movie that didn't need a sequel. And in today's video, guys, I'm going to be covering this time another example of an animated movie, which in my opinion did not need a sequel. And this is for an animated movie by DreamWorks Animation, guys, which was actually part of their 2D era of movies, released in 2002, directed by Kelly Asbury, may he rest in peace, alongside Lorna Cook. And this is one of my favourites by the company, and is, in my opinion, a very underrated film that deserves more love, which of course is none other than 2002's Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. So, now you guys probably want what do I think of this movie? Well, I really love Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. Definitely, in my opinion, a really amazing animated movie, and it's one of DreamWorks' best films, in my opinion, that deserves more love. Like, what's great about it is, so, like, for example, the main character is of course a horse who is called Spirit, who is voiced by Matt Damon, and I love how his film does something very unique when it comes to voice acting, where Matt Damon voices Spirit's inner thoughts, which is definitely a very unique thing to do, really, which is very good. Because compared to other animated films which have animals talking in an anthropomorphic style, where they're talking as if they're humans, I like how in this film, Spirit and the other horses talk to each other through non-linguistic sounds and body language, just like real horses. Definitely a very creative thing to do, which was definitely really good in my opinion. I definitely loved that. And this film definitely my favourite also, Matt Damon. His performance in this film was amazing. And this film story was also really great too as well. Really amazing in my opinion. And yeah, it was definitely really great. And I especially as well really love the music by Hans Zimmer as well. And I definitely as well love the songs by Bryan Adams. Like, just absolutely beautiful music in my opinion that I love to listen to, because when I saw this film on Amazon Prime, guys, I really loved it. Just an absolutely beautiful movie, in my opinion. And probably my second favourite 2D DreamWorks movie of all time, behind The Prince of Egypt. Just a really amazing movie, in my opinion, that deserves more love. And the movie also has a phenomenal ending as well. Because at the end of the movie, of course, Spirit and, of course, his love interest, who is called Rain, they are set loose by Little Creek, who bids them farewell. And they depart to Spirit's homeland, where they reunite with his herd. Definitely, in my opinion, a very happy ending right there for them. Yeah, definitely a great way to wrap up the story, and I did not see any signs of sequel baiting at all in this ending. However, despite this film having a very happy ending, this film being a standalone film was unfortunately deemed not to be, because it launched a media franchise somehow. And it all began with an animated series called Spirit Riding Free, which premiered on Netflix in 2017. And I've tried to watch that show, guys, on some occasions, but because of the horrendous animation, it's made me turn off after, like, about a few seconds of it, because it looked horrible. Like, I lasted about 10 seconds watching it, that's all I lasted of it, and I hated the animation on it, so I didn't bother with the Netflix show. Like, it completely lost my interest in its first few seconds of it. Like, goodness me, I don't know what happened at all with it. But unfortunately, guys, to rub salt in the wound, this unfortunately resulted in a spin-off sequel to both the show and the original movie, which of course is none other than 2021's Spirit Untamed. Oh my god, right. I absolutely hated this sequel, guys. Just, in my opinion, one of DreamWorks' worst movies I've ever seen. It was horrible, in my opinion. Like, who thought it would be a good idea to make a sequel to Spirit? If someone didn't even set up a franchise to begin with, Spirit should have only worked best as a standalone movie. But yeah, this sequel, in my opinion, absolutely sucked beyond all belief. Because I think it was like last year or so, guys. I don't remember when I actually watched this. I think it was 2022, maybe. I watched this movie to see what it was like, and when I watched it for the first time, I absolutely despised it. Like, it was so inferior on way too many levels compared to the amazing original movie. On so many levels. Like, goodness me. Like, and because I've not seen the Netflix show, guys, I had no idea what was going on at all, so. But it's so stupid how it requires you to watch a show before you watch a movie. Like, It's supposed to be a sequel to a movie, not the show, for crying out loud. Ridiculous. And this film had tons of missed opportunities on many levels. Now, one thing this film did horribly wrong, in my opinion, was it was so stupid how, now, when it comes to a main character, despite being called Spirit, guys, this is actually, of course, Spirit's son in this film, who's also called Spirit. And what is so dumb is that he doesn't have inner thoughts like the first movie. So by not having his inner thoughts voiced by an actor, you know, who, like with Matt Damon, of course, who voiced Spirit in the first movie's inner thoughts, this film missed so much. Like a big missed opportunity right there, which was ridiculous. And I really hated that a lot. I was so angry about that. Like, it really missed out. And another thing as well, in my opinion, is also absolutely horrible about this movie, is probably, in my opinion, the animation. Like, oh my god. The animation for this sequel was just absolutely horrendous. Because it made a horrible mistake of turning the animation from 2D, like in the first movie, to 3D. Because the first film was part of the 2D era, and the other thing it did with regards to 3D was some of the background shots. But that, in my opinion, worked well, in my opinion. Because this one was probably way too, was way too 3D. The animation was absolutely horrible. Really was. Like, it was just absolutely terrible, in my opinion, animation. It was so hard to watch because it was just pure cringe to see. Awful. Like, this is just proof that when you turn a 2D film into 3D, it can go horribly wrong. And this is probably a massive example of that. Like, that just doesn't work at all. Like, why didn't we do a sequel in 2D? It could have been nostalgic for fans of DreamWorks' old era, like me, for example, because I love DreamWorks' old movies. Well, most of them, because the worst one, in my opinion, is Shark Tale. I hate Shark Tale. But, it could have probably given nostalgia for fans of the 2D films. Because I think the 2D era of DreamWorks is underrated, in my opinion. And it's just horrible, really, what they did. They really ruined it so much in this sequel. Like, the transition didn't work at all. And also, because this sequel is apparently taking place after this show, it barely even connects at all to the original movie. Which is so dumb because it's supposed to be a continuation of the original movie as part of, like, a franchise, but it barely connects to it at all. Which is horrible. And the film was also really boring as well. Because compared to the first one, which I really enjoyed watching, I thought this film was really boring. And also, guys, the film is only 85 minutes. And I was so bored watching it. Hated it. Like, it was so boring. I mean, the first movie, guys, is 83 minutes. 2 minutes shorter than the sequel. And that one was paced so much better and had a way more interesting story than this sequel. God, it was horrible. And all I can say is that I wish Spirit said as one movie. And in my opinion, the only redeeming quality of the sequel for me was probably Jake Gyllenhaal's character. Because I thought Jake Gyllenhaal did the best sequel he was given. He's a great actor and he tried his best in this movie, even though I hated the movie. Every other character, in my opinion, was just forgettable and bland and just not even characters I could care about at all. Like, I couldn't care less about any of the characters in this film apart from Jake Gyllenhaal's character. And that's it. It was horrible. So, all I can say is that, in my opinion, Spirit was only one movie, and it's also because of his sequel, guys, that I have, of course, made a decision to start watching DreamWorks' movies, because I've hated the direction they've been going in. For example, like, I think, in my opinion, the last good DreamWorks movie by them, before all these horrible sequels, was probably How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. Because that film was a masterpiece compared to the horrible DreamWorks movies I've seen recently, really. I mean, in my opinion, the only good film after How to Train Your Dragon 3 was probably The Bad Guys. And I want that film to get sequels and be a franchise, but because they're not coming any sequels anytime soon, as of now, guys, I couldn't care less about DreamWorks. Like, for example, when it comes to after How to Train Your Dragon 3, we got a mediocre film, which I thought wasn't that good, called Abominable. I thought it was mediocre, not really that good, in my opinion. And then, of course, we unfortunately got a sequel to A Croods, which I did not like. I prefer the first movie way more. The Croods sequel, in my opinion, was terrible in comparison. We also got a sequel to Trolls called Trolls World Tour, which I thought was garbage and was literally an Infinity War rip-off. And unfortunately, we're getting a third film of that franchise. Ugh. Wouldn't be surprised if that rips off Avengers Endgame. because the second film, of course, it's off Avengers Infinity War. And then, of course, when it comes to DreamWorks, guys, there's two films about franchise I refuse to watch, which is a Boss Baby film, because, you know, I've only seen about 10 seconds of the first movie, and I already hated it, you know, because I'll tell you this, guys, right, you know, my brother got on DVD once, and he was watching it, and when I saw, like, about 10 seconds of it, when I was getting a drink from the kitchen, I thought it was horrible, and I went back to my room to continue my Lord of the Rings marathon, which I was doing at a time when he was watching it. But yeah, I'm not going to watch any of those two films anytime soon. I'm not interested. And of course, the Spirit sequel is also among the bad DreamWorks movies in recent times. And I am also not interested in watching Puss in Boots: The Last Wish either, because, in my opinion, the first one didn't even need a sequel. And also, what's worse is that film takes place after Shrek Forever After. And the ending, as I found out from people, is setting up a fifth Shrek movie, which I'm furious about, because, like, I've already made it perfectly clear, guys, that Shrek Forever After to me is the true end of Shrek. And I'm going to keep it that way. So, I'll not be watching anything in the Shrek franchise ever again at this rate. Because it's going to set up, you know, more to come. And knowing about what DreamWorks have been doing, I wouldn't be surprised if this film is horrible. Because there's been horrible films from DreamWorks that I've seen and really hated. And the Spirit sequel, of course, is one of them. So, yeah. And it looks like we're not doing any sequels to Bad Guys anytime soon. So, as of now, guys, I don't care about DreamWorks. I'm happily done with it. I'll only watch old DreamWorks, to be honest, and that's about it for me, really. So, yeah. So, when it comes to DreamWorks, the only good thing, in my opinion, after How to Train Your Dragon and Hidden World was the Bad Guys, but screw everything else. So, yeah, that's all I can say. So, guys, this is me doing the next episode of Movie Didn't Need a Sequel, while saying why, in my opinion, Spirit, Stallion, and Cimarron did not need a sequel, or to be a franchise, because it also had a show, too. Because compared to the first one, which I give a solid 9 out of 10 to, guys, I think it's a very underrated movie, I give the awful sequel a very bad 3 out of 10, because in my opinion, it was trash. So, yeah. And one of the reasons why I'm no longer watching DreamWorks movies. So, yeah. So, guys, you know, a drill, be sure to give the video a like. Also, be sure to let me know in the comments what you guys think of Spirit, Stallion, and Cimarron. Do you think it needs a sequel? In the comments below. Also, be sure to join Team Fan by pressing subscribe in the future. If you would like to be a member, you can join using a piece of ads or your description, and I'll see you all later.